Hello and welcome to the second lecture in our comprehensive course on data science, machine learning and artificial intelligence. This is second lecture of chapter 2. In previous lecture, we talked about how to create virtual environment on Windows. Now in this lecture, we want to talk about how to create virtual environment on Ubuntu Linux. And the steps will remain the same for the Mac also. The only thing is that instead of terminal of Ubuntu, you have to execute same commands on the terminal of Mac. And this home library, that is home page directory, not library, sorry, home directory, its name on the Mac is slightly different. But apart from that, the basic commands remain same. So this is a lecture for Mac as well as Ubuntu. Now, I still advise to quickly go through the previous lecture which was for Windows, because it not only explains commands and everything for Windows, but it also explains the basic logic, why virtual environment is required and what are the benefits of creating virtual environment. So let us start for these Ubuntu's. Okay, so first I have to open the terminal. So Control Alt and T, that opens my terminal. You can also open, if you have created a shortcut here on the left side bar, then you can also open there. Okay, now here, this is my home directory. Home directory means it is this directory. If I see computer, that is in the Windows, it is called this PC, and then users and EQ. Similarly here home and EQ. Okay, so this is my home directory for user EQ. Okay, and here I want to create a virtual environment named same as the previous lecture. Again, I advise please go through the previous lecture. Don't think that it was for Ubuntu, Windows. So I'm working on Ubuntu or Mac, so I will not see it. Please see it because some things are explained in much more detail. Okay, so this is basic DS Py 311, but same I want to show from scratch, and that is why I am writing basic DS Py 311 old. That means I just rename that existing folder so that it remains as a backup. So now there is no basic DS Py 311 in this directory, so we will create that for new folder, right? So this old folder, because I am keeping it as a backup, I'm not deleting it because it has my almost more than 8 months work that I can show you also, that it has so many all chapters exercises, all chapters in the Jupyter notebook, and all chapters in Jupyter lab, 30 chapters and so many different things. So I cannot delete it, but I can always rename it for my convenience, so that now new folder of same name can be created. Okay, so I have opened my command prompt, and this is my base environment. Base environment means when I open my command prompt, here you can see this base. Base means whatever Python is installed on your Ubuntu, that will be used. I can check also what Python is installed. So by this hyphen version. So it is 3.11.5. Okay, but I want to create a virtual environment whose name is this basic DS Py 311. So first I will create a directory of that name. So let me create a directory. So command is make dir, that is make directory basic DS Py home EQ. Now that whole fully qualified path, if you don't write and just write this much, that is also enough. Okay, but I'm writing this. Now if you see this folder, that is home folder, then there will be a new basic DS Py 311, because the old one I created, I renamed it to, okay, let me sort by, okay, and sort by name. Yeah, this is the new directory, and currently I have nothing in it, so it is an empty directory, right? Now navigate to that directory. That command remains same whether you are that means it is the CD whether you are on Windows or Linux. So CD home EQ basic DS Py 311, that gives this new directory, right? And then you can so I have navigated to this newly created folder, this one. Okay, now inside that folder I want to create the virtual environment. Now here command is different for Windows and for Linux. So there it was Python minus, not minus, but it is called hyphen m whenever, and then fully qualified name of the virtual environment. Similarly here it is this is the command, but version of Python can be specified. That is the big advantage with Ubuntu. In Windows you cannot specify the version of Python. If you want to specify the version of Python on Windows, then you have to use another mechanism, that is called conda, mini conda or anaconda you have to install, and then you can use command conda create virtual environment, but we are not going into that. So now this virtual environment is being created. Okay, and its name is also basic ds py 311. So you can see inside one basic ds py 311, another basic ds, and you can see bin include some command, some folders are different than in Windows. In Windows there was a scripts folder, and inside scripts there was activate, but this is Linux. So inside there is a bin folder, bin for binary, okay, and there is activate. Fine. So we have to make cd to that bin folder, right? So create virtual environment. So that we have created. This will create a new subfolder inside basic ds py 311. So we can see that inside basic ds py 311 it has created a subfolder basic ds py 311, and inside that subfolder there is this bin. Activate that virtual environment. So I can do one more step here, that first you cd to the bin and then activate, or directly also you can activate, because the activate script is inside bin, so binary. Okay, so this is activate. So I can write this. In Windows, we used to go to the scripts folder and then we used to execute command. Similarly, activate command. Similarly, in the Linux, the command is source, and then you have to go to the entire folder where that activate is located. So it is located in home, ecube, this. Okay, if I show you its properties, then it will become more clear that you can see home, ecube, basic ds py 311, basic ds py 311 bin. So that is where that activate is located, right? So that you can see here, home, ecube, basic ds py 311, basic ds py 311 bin. Okay, and you are going to that folder, and inside whatever activate is there, that you are activating. But for that, Linux has command source. So we are activating. Immediately you should notice that this prompt has changed. Here the prompt was this, that was my home directory, home ecube directory. This is my same directory, but now instead of base, the prefix is basic ds py 311. So you shall, your shell prompt should change to something like this. So it has changed. Okay. First of all, we upgrade the pip, because as I said, as such this step is optional, but most of the time the version of pip which is stored on our system is slightly older and it might create some silly errors. So it is better to update. For example, here this is 23.2.1 or something. So from that it is upgraded to 25.2. So pip is continuously being upgraded, and new facilities, new channel, new sources of for packages are added. So it is always better to use the latest pip. Sometimes such simple steps solves many problems. Okay, now inside virtual environment you install your Jupyter Lab. All these steps from this point onwards were more or less same, and you can see that Jupyter Lab is being installed. I am pausing it unnecessarily, there is no need to waste time. But you can see here installation is over, and when Jupyter Lab is installed, along with that so many other packages which are whitened on the bash shell, you can see all this, they are also installed. So now Jupyter Lab is installed. Next is I will install IPY kernel, which is as such not required, because while installing Jupyter Lab, mostly IPY kernel is always installed, but it depends. On Windows it was installed. Let us see on, yeah, here also it says requirement is already satisfied. Requirement already satisfied. So there is no need of that step, but sometimes I have seen that that step is required. Okay, then add a Jupyter kernel with the same name as the environment. So kernel user you want to add. Why that kernel user you want to add? So that whenever you open Jupyter Lab, let me clear this cluttered bash shell. Okay, whenever you open the Jupyter Lab, then you will see the choices of various kernels available. Among them, you want to have these also. That is directly you should be able to choose for our kernel. Okay, so this is the command for that, python -m IPY kernel, which was already installed, but we want to install a user for that IPY kernel whose name of the user is basic ds py 311. That is the same name as our virtual environment, and whose display name is basic ds py 311. So that means for the sake of simplicity and standardization, I'm keeping this name as well as this name here, same as what you see here, that is name of your virtual environment. But you can keep all these three different. There is no need, no compulsion that you have to give username also same, and this display name also same. For example, you can use username Raj, you can use display name basic ds py 311 underscore Raj. So fine, you can do that. Okay, now you can move to the directory where you want to store the notebooks. Where we want to store the notebooks? Currently we are where? We are inside this basic ds py 311. Okay, so we want to store our notebooks here in this folder, not inside my virtual environment, but in home. This basic ds py 311 is there, so I want to store my notebooks in this region. So that means out of my virtual environment, but in this region. Okay, so then that for that region I have to come out by one directory, I think. Okay, so let me first, I think that command is still to be executed. So it is executed. Yes, kernel space user is installed. Now I do cd. Okay, let me see what is the present working directory. If I think I am already in the proper directory, so there is no need to do that cd dot command. I am already in the directory, which is, so I can directly launch my Jupyter Lab. So Jupyter Lab is launched, and when it is opening, you can see here this drop down. So many kernels are available for me because I have created so many virtual environments for different projects. But nothing will be available for you. Only one basic Python kernel will be available. That is base kernel. This will be available. This Python 3 IPY kernel, because that is the default kernel which is inside Jupyter Lab, and this will be available. The second one, basic DS Py 311. All this, they will not be available for you because they are created, they are my other virtual environments which I have created for other different projects. Okay, for example, this TFNO, that is created for TensorFlow and PyTorch and mainly computer vision applications. This is NLP so that is created in this mostly the SPACY and NLTK and those kind of libraries are installed. This is OCR WNAV, in which Paddle OCR and various optical character recognition. This is generative AI WNAV, in which generative AI related packages, LangChain, etc. These are installed. So that is how it is. But this is the basic DS Py 311. Always check at the right top corner here, and you should see the virtual environment. Now, whatever work you do, install new packages inside this and anything, that will remain confined to this folder. This folder is what folder? That is the uh, uh, this folder is the virtual environment folder. So everything is installed here, and that will remain isolated from rest of the things. Okay. So I hope that these steps are clear, and on the Ubuntu also the steps, sorry, on the Mac also the steps remain the same. And once you are inside this Jupyter Lab and you have selected the virtual environment, so then thereafter it is just same feel whether you are working on Windows or whether you are working on Ubuntu or whether you are working on this Mac. Because the great thing about Jupyter Lab is it is a browser based tool, and therefore it can work on any operating system, even Solaris or whatever, any operating system which has a browser, it will work on that, right? So and it will give you the same look and feel. So if you go from one company to another for working, and if then you will not be you will not have to waste time in getting adjusted to the working conditions. Okay, fine. Let me shut down this kernel. So I have shut down, and let me close this. So I am closing it, and okay, let me close the this terminal also. Now my basic DS Py 311, which I have just now created here, you can see just now created, that is this, but that was just created for a demo. So I will delete that, and this was my old, because I want to restore everything as I started just at the beginning of this lecture. So this was my old one because it had many precious many precious Jupyter notebooks, my 8 to 10 months work, in fact more than that, exercises of the course and all chapters and everything. So I have to restore it to its original state. So that I have done. Okay. So hope this is clear. And on the Mac also, the only difference on the Mac is that Python is not installed built-in. So initially one extra step will be required before starting terminal is installing Python by using brew. But that step we have already covered in a previous chapter 1 lecture, where we installed Jupyter Notebook. Remember, this is Jupyter Lab, and that was Jupyter Notebook, and Jupyter Lab is much more powerful, and we will, most of the time in our course, we will work with Jupyter Lab. I told you the reason, browser based, and it gives a good feeling, that is and it allows all modular coding facilities, same as the VS Code and PyCharm. It does not have that many extensions, but it does not require also that many extensions. So we will do it by extension, means plugins, but it does not require that. So we will do most of our work by Jupyter Lab. Okay, sometimes PyCharm or VS Code also. So I will keep this. Let me check if something is that navigate to that directory. Okay, so that you can take a screenshot if you want to take. Let me check all steps. Okay, so this is the entire list of commands which you require for creating a virtual environment on Ubuntu, or same will be the commands which are required on Mac. The only difference would be here on the Mac, there will be one more step before opening the terminal, that is using brew to install the required version of Python. Okay, but apart from that, this is the same steps. So you can take a screenshot here and follow this step. And please keep the name of the virtual environment same as what I have kept. As I said, there is no rule you can give any name, ABC or XYZ, but I will repeatedly refer to these names. So if you give same name, I will be thankful, and you will also be thankful later on to yourself. Thank you, and see you.